Hi everybody. You know, I was kind of dreading making this video, not because of the subject matter, but because of what the subject matter required me to do. I've had quite a few people ask, how I was able to escape the witnesses at age 13. A lot of people weren't able to do so in their situations, so I want to preface it by saying that I was extremely lucky. I had the perfect storm of situations occurring in my life that allowed me to do this, and it was not planned at all. I was not expecting what happened to happen. It was not an impulsive decision, but it was something that I was not expecting to go forward with at that point. I had been studying for several years with an elder's wife, and before that another sister. We would do independent Bible studies together because since my mother was not an active witness and my grandparents worked full-time, there really wasn't anybody, there wasn't anybody at home to study with me. So some of the pioneer sisters in the congregation kind of took that over, and as I was approaching the age of 14, the subject of baptism kept coming up, and I kind of pushed it away as much as I possibly could. I didn't know at that time why I was pushing it away, and having to go back 17 years and go into my 13-year-old mind and try to remember what my reasoning was gives me the biggest headache that I've ever had in my life. I don't think that I'll ever be able to remember exactly what my logic and reasoning was at that point, but, I'd like to think that I was a smart kid, and there were a lot of things that I could see happening that I wasn't liking, and it had been going on for a long time. I had started to develop opinions of my own that were not congruent with the beliefs that the society was telling us, and so I had that to struggle with internally, and I had to keep those things to myself. One of them was their view on homosexuality. I have always thought that that was not a choice and that it was nature, and I felt that it was, I honestly felt that it was wrong to judge somebody by the way that they feel because of something that was natural. And I don't know where that feeling came from. I just have always had this affinity towards, I have had this affinity toward gays and lesbians, and, I guess when I was that age, I had some questions of my own about my own sexuality, so that kind of fed into it, and boy did it really make me feel guilty too. So that was one of the things that upset me. Another one was that I was, for my age, I was fairly intelligent, I was capable. One of the things the witnesses always do is make you grow up too fast. I've seen that over and over and over again with kids, and trying to make them become young adults instead of being able to be children. So I had that headstrong, confident kind of capability feeling, but at the same time guilty and insecure. I don't even know what the guilt was about. Don't remember, don't care. Could have been anything. They put a million different kinds of guilt in your head, so I don't know. So anyway, I had those things. I felt oppressed because of my sex, and because I was born with the wrong set of genitalia. I was going to be second class for the rest of my life, and I probably wasn't going to get to go to college because they discouraged that. So I was going to have to grow up without ever really having a life, and pioneer, and find some good brother who didn't beat me, and certainly hope that there were no other problems in the marriage, because once we got married, that wasn't ever going to change unless he would cheat on me. So That much I understood at that age. And I wasn't looking forward to that kind of a future. So I started to buck back little by little. It wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do that was the problem. It's what I didn't want to be told my life was going to be like and what it should be. And I felt like they were making me throw my future away. I didn't even know what my future was, but I didn't want what they were selling me anymore. I really wish I could explain it better than that, but I don't think I even know. I think it was just my subconscious was screaming out, this is wrong, you don't want to be here, this is not what you are supposed to be doing, there is something seriously wrong with the dynamics of this organization. And so my mind and my body rebelled. I would fall asleep during the Bible studies with the elder's wife. She wasn't too happy about that. My parents were divorced, so I spent time every other weekend I spent at my father's house, and then every other weekend I spent at my mother's house. So that was one Sunday. Every other Sunday, if I wanted to, I could make up an excuse that I didn't have to go to the meetings. And 9 times out of 10, I made that excuse up unless something exciting was supposed to happen. Because I didn't want to go anyway. I didn't want to go. I don't think any kid wants to go to a really boring meeting 3 times a week. I don't know how anybody sits through it as an adult. The only thing that I can think of is that it numbs your mind so much that they can shovel subliminal messages in faster. Seriously, that's my thought. I think that if you bore somebody to tears enough, that their body just kind of shuts down, so they don't really, they feel trapped, and it makes it easier to shovel in the information that you want. You just completely, you deprive them of stimulation enough to be able to do that. And I was tired of that. So I would just sleep through the meetings, or write stories, or do anything to forget that I was there. The fall prior to leaving, I went on a Bethel trip with the elder's wife that I'd been studying with, the elder, and a good friend of mine who was a year younger than me. You know, the most exciting part of that trip was getting to watch getting to look at the art that the artists were painting for the Watchtower and Awake. And I thought, man, if I have to do this for the rest of my life until paradise comes, this is the only job I want, is just doing this painting. Because anything else, I honestly don't think I'd want to live all the way through it. It was an extremely boring trip. I don't know if I was supposed to get inspiration out of it or not, but I sure didn't. I made some new friends. They were really nice. I don't know where all my pictures went, but I still have pictures of all the people my age that I met on the trip, and I thought that they were really great. And they were gung-ho about this, and a lot of them were baptized, and I'm like, man, there's something really wrong with me. I'm not with it, and I just don't want to get baptized, but I can't figure out why. So anyway, we had a nice time on the Bethel trip. I did meet a boy on the Bethel trip, and absolutely nothing happened. You know why? Because I was a good little witness girl. In fact, we were never alone together, and there was no impropriety whatsoever. And that's important to note because of the next story that I'm going to tell.